Welcome to the Nation of History channel. Be sure to subscribe and like so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. The impact of the events in Hiroshima in 1945 left deep marks on the population and changed the world's view of nuclear technology. This episode marked the beginning of a new historical era, leading to global reflection on safety, scientific responsibility, and the limits of modern destructive power. The events of September 2001 marked a decisive moment in recent history, leading to stronger global security policies. The episode drew international attention and deeply changed procedures in airports and public institutions. The presence of a diver emerging from inside the USS Arizona at Pearl Harbor after the events of December 1941 symbolizes one of the most significant naval episodes of World War II. This event marked the official entry of the United States into the period, changing the course of global history. The record made in Yangji on January 27, 1951, documents a Korean civilian in an extreme situation during the Korean War. The scene shows the impact of territorial fighting on the local population during the retreat of forces in the region. The Titanic's departure from port on April 15, 1912, marked an advance in naval engineering, representing the largest ocean liner of its time. Its voyage opened an era of luxury and innovation, but also revealed the challenges of transoceanic travel within the technical limits of that period. The discovery of physical evidence involving gladiators and big cats in York, England, reveals the intensity of public spectacles in the Roman Empire almost 1,800 years ago. Bone fragments helped researchers understand arena practices and forms of entertainment from that time. The history of World War II shows the heavy use of the B-29, a strategic aircraft that played a crucial role in bombings over Japan and marked the conflict's technological shift. This innovation strengthened Allied military capability, influencing their advance toward victory and changing the conflict. Soldiers in trenches faced World War I, which began in 1914, a period that marked history by involving many nations and laying the groundwork for major geopolitical changes. These episodes highlighted the difficulties of modern operations and the need for defensive strategies. The removal of Huey helicopters from aircraft carriers in 1975 happened during evacuation operations, reflecting the military use and strategic importance of these aircraft. This action symbolizes a phase of conflict and change in naval operations, with effects on military and humanitarian missions of the time. During World War II, soldiers of the Soviet Union faced the challenge of keeping morale high amid the war. The scene of a service member with a cat reinforces how animals helped in military routines, showing the importance of emotional care during times of conflict and resistance. During World War II, workers excavando wood used traditional tools, reflecting the economic activities of areas producing essential raw materials. This era marked the global mobilization that affected economies and ways of life, shown in black and white records of everyday tasks. During the 1930s, defense strategies used by several countries included mock maneuvers with inflatable tanks, like the rubber one shown, to mislead possible enemies. These tactics played an important role in the military preparation that came before World War II, which began in 1939. Military veterans of the 1858 Napoleonic campaign, portrayed with traditional clothing, medals, and weapons, reflect the importance of 19th century military training, marked by the use of turbans with brooches and accessories that show the cultural heritage and war strategies of the time. The figure of Max Schreck resting behind the scenes of Nosferatu reflects the importance of silent film in the 1920s, a period when German Expressionism strongly influenced horror. This production marked a fundamental phase in cinema history, setting visual and storytelling standards still used today. Salvador Dalí, one of the leading names of surrealism, created the work The Face of War during the 20th century, reflecting the tensions of the modern period. The painting, in black and white tones, captures an unsettling atmosphere, showing the intensity of his artistic expression. The episode involving a Volvo PV544 and a submarine in the city of Lysekil highlighted the challenges of traffic near special maritime areas. The record, made on August 19, 1961, illustrates the importance of advances in safety and organization around naval structures. At the height of the space race in 1962, the Bell rocket belt was shown to the public at the Presidio in San Francisco. This demonstration highlighted technological advances that influenced the development of experimental personal vehicles, marking a moment of major technical innovation. During the 1930s, inventions like the monowheel platform patented by John Archibald Purvis highlighted excitement about futuristic vehicles. This innovation reflected the desire to transform transportation, influencing achievements that marked technological progress during the period, especially in England. In the 1970s, the development of the first mobile phone, only 9 inches tall and with 35 minutes of talk time, changed communications by allowing greater freedom of movement. This innovation, created in the era of big cities, marked an important step forward in portable communication technology and shaped the future. During the demonstration of the cantilever principle for the Forth Bridge in Britain in 1887, engineers highlighted advances in structural innovation that would be essential to the progress of civil engineering. This experiment reinforced the importance of clever solutions for large-scale construction, marking progress in architectural history. Chicago's growing urbanization in the 1930s encouraged innovations such as car elevators, making movement easier in cities with tall buildings and older architecture. The 1936 structure reflects the technological progress of the time, marking an important step in the transformation of urban transportation. Seeing the Statue of Liberty, immigrants aboard a large ship celebrate their arrival in a country that promised new opportunities in the early 20th century, reflecting the hope and dream of a better life during that period of intense immigration to the United States. The migration of families connected to the Latter-day Saint movement to the Great Salt Lake Valley in the 1860s marked a crucial moment in the group's expansion as they sought to build self-sufficient settlements in remote areas. This phase encouraged new communities and agricultural development in the region. Navigation on the Truckee River in the 1860s reveals the growth of exploration in the American West, driven by the search for minerals and the building of infrastructure. In 1867, this period marked the expansion of human presence in the region, encouraging economic and territorial development. During the 19th century gold rush, miners explored areas like Boren's Gulch in Colorado, searching for wealth in the mountains. The discovery of gold in 1859 boosted mining in the region, encouraging community growth and economic change on the American frontier. In a period scene, people wearing traditional clothing and hats, typical of the early 20th century, gather near a wooden station marked White Pass and Yukon Railroad Station. The lack of modern vehicles and the English signage reflect the expansion of rail transportation in the Alaska region. In the late 19th century, schools like the one in Forest Grove, Oregon, taught essential manual skills such as blacksmithing, representing the technical progress of the period. The wooden structure reinforces the architecture of the time, while the photograph reveals details of practical education in a changing society. In the early 20th century, London subway stations featured old advertising that reflected the consumer habits of the time, highlighting brands such as Viking milk. This phase marked the growth of underground transportation as an urban solution, influencing city organization and consumer culture. In the King's Cross neighborhood of London, the busy day is marked by carriages and streetcars moving along cobblestone streets, with pedestrians wearing tall hats and long coats, reflecting a transitional era before the spread of motor vehicles in 1899. A high-quality black and white photograph captures a moment when the Pantheon, a symbol of Roman heritage, suffers again from recurring flooding in the city. These historical episodes highlight the difficulties Rome faced in preserving its architectural legacy throughout the 19th century. Newcastle Castle, built in the 13th century, witnessed the urban growth of the city around it, changing from a ruined fortification into a lively tourist landmark. This historical endurance reflects the importance of preserving heritage through social and technological change. In the late 19th century, Venice displayed its traditional canals, with sailboats and rowboats, old buildings with simple facades, and stone walkways. This era marked the city's height as a center of trade and tourism, strengthening its unique identity and preserving its cultural heritage. The presence of classic skyscrapers and mid-20th century clothing reveals an urban scene in Chicago in 1955, a time of economic and cultural growth after World War II. This period marked a transformation in the city, strengthening its role as a financial and innovation center in the United States. Classic style vehicles and clothing reflect a period between 1930 and 1960, a time of urban change in Los Angeles when old cars and traditional police uniforms marked the city's growth. This era was crucial to the modernization of American urban centers. In France, inside a traditional room in Burgundy, a family gathers around a small television with buttons, marking a time when the first examples of color television were beginning to appear. The scene, recorded in 1962, shows the gradual introduction of technology into daily life, marking a major advance in communication and culture. Walt Disney, in 1945, works on recording the voice of Mickey Mouse, while Clarence Nash brings Donald Duck to life. The collaboration of these artists marked one of the standout moments in the production of classic cartoons, strengthening Disney's worldwide recognition and its impact on pop culture. Actress Carrie Fisher celebrates the success of The Empire Strikes Back by posing next to stormtroopers in London in 1980, a time when excitement for the Star Wars franchise was winning over fans and strengthening its cultural impact. This image reflected the importance of the saga in the modern era and its international reach. French actress Audrey Tautou appears relaxed behind the scenes of the acclaimed film Amélie, released in the early 2000s. The record captures the Parisian atmosphere that served as the setting for the production, which became a major milestone in world cinema history. Joseph Ratzinger, the future Pope Benedict XVI, worked in church settings during the 1960s, a period marked by deep institutional and social changes. His presence in formal environments reflected his rising position in the hierarchy and the impact of the transformations of that time. The future Queen Elizabeth II of Great Britain appears smiling as she hugs a pet dog during her youth in 1942. The record reveals a relaxed moment for the then princess amid the tense setting of World War II, a period when she began taking on official public duties. Frederick IX, King of Denmark from 1947 to 1972, took the throne after World War II, a period of rebuilding and social development in the country. His leadership strengthened modern political stability, marking an important phase in Danish royal history. During the 1950s, celebrity culture grew with figures like Grace Kelly and Frank Sinatra, who symbolized glamour and elegance. The popularity of these icons contributed to the expansion of the entertainment industry and reflected the strong influence of media in shaping lifestyles. Natalie Wood and Robert Wagner signing their marriage license in 1957 reflects the growth of Hollywood cinema at the time, strengthening young stars and marking important social events that influenced Brazilian and world culture, especially in the creation of glamour icons. Nicaraguan activist Bianca Perez Mora Macias, widely known as Bianca Jagger, was photographed by Reg Lancaster in France on May 9, 1971. The record captures a moment of major public attention for the model, who would become one of the most striking cultural and style icons of that decade. The actress, who gained worldwide recognition in her first major role, marked the Academy ceremony with elegance, wearing a classic outfit and a polished hairstyle typical of the late 1970s. Her presence helped strengthen the Oscars' importance as a cultural and fashion event. Liv Tyler, wearing a shiny fabric dress with loose dark hair, represents popular fashion in the 1990s, a period marked by a wide range of styles and appreciation for casual, natural looks. This phase was crucial to the rise of pop culture and new fashion trends. During the 1990s, pop culture and music influenced fashion, reflected in Kylie Minogue's elegance in that 1992 photograph, marked by the style of the era, voluminous curly hair, soft makeup, and minimalist accessories. This phase strengthened her international career. At Justine Bateman's 17th birthday party, celebrated in 1983, famous young actors from 1980s television joined a gathering with clothing, hairstyles, and style typical of the era, reflecting the impact of pop culture on youth and fashion in that decade, which influenced later generations. Young actress Demi Moore was photographed by Michael Montfort in 1977 while roller skating along the famous Sunset Strip in Los Angeles, California. The record captures the urban style and vibrant atmosphere of American youth culture that defined the late 1970s. In the 1950s, Gina Lollobrigida's popularity as an actress and glamour icon strengthened the reputation of Italian cinema on the world stage. Her presence in front of the Metropolitan Opera House in New York reflected the expansion of European cinema and the cultural exchanges that marked that period of economic stability and social growth. Celebrities like Pier Angeli, Jane Powell, and Anne Blyth attended events in Hollywood in the 1950s, marking an era of glamour in the film industry. These stars helped strengthen Hollywood's fame as the world center of entertainment, influencing fashion and culture. At the height of the golden age of cinema, stars and producers gathered in Hollywood studios, where technical innovation and glamour defined 1930s film. During this period, the industry strengthened its cultural and economic role, turning cinema into a form of mass entertainment. Celebrating the 1939 production, a black and white photo captures actresses of the era wearing traditional clothing and hairstyles, surrounded by Christmas decorations and glowing ornaments, revealing the importance of cinema as mass entertainment at the time and its cultural influence. In the 1950s, Ginger Rogers appears in a black and white photograph surrounded by several traditional Santa Claus figures, reflecting the Christmas spirit of the time. This era marked the growth of Christmas as a popular celebration, with parties that reinforced family values and the purchase of holiday products. American dancer and actress Bobby Shaw poses for a photo shoot in the mid-20th century, standing out in the entertainment circuit of the time. The documentary record preserves the pin-up look and clothing standards that characterized artistic and editorial productions of the period. Tina Louise, a famous actress of the 1960s, made her mark by starring in series that strengthened her entertainment career. Her presence in recordings and period scenes reflected a phase of television growth, influencing popular culture and improving the standard of television entertainment in Brazil. Stella Stevens, an iconic actress, stood out in the 1960s, a period marked by major cultural and fashion changes that influenced the film industry. Her image reflected the style of the time, with big hairstyles and silk clothing that symbolized the freedom and glamour of that decade. Dita Von Teese appears in a black and white photograph that recalls the 1930s through the 1960s, standing out for her hairstyle and vintage clothing. Against a background of large plants and architectural elements, she represents the glamour of an era marked by classic elegance and refined style. In the late 1970s, Vogue highlighted the influence of the disco movement and retro romance in fashion, reflecting a search for elegance and freedom. This style influenced fashion campaigns and 1979 catalogs, marking a shift toward a more polished and accessible look. The scene captures typical 1980s fashion, with big hair and elaborate clothing, strengthened by dramatic lighting and a background with smoke and string decorations. This visual style recalls film productions of the time, marking a clearly recognizable look from that period. Celebrating a time of cultural transformation, the 1960s brought social and artistic changes that influenced fashion and entertainment. The Golden Jubilee of cinema, with the rise of stars like Angelica Houston, reflected the lasting impact of that era on world culture, marked by parties and festive settings. The 1973 production influenced the fashion and style of the actors, who posed smiling on a studio set to promote a classic comedy. This era stood out for its innovative approach to dark themes through humor, becoming a milestone in the history of comedy film. Inside an elegant 1950s bedroom, the image captures a bride on her special day, reflected in an old mirror with a detailed frame. Wearing a classic wedding outfit and a carefully styled hairstyle, she represents a memorable moment in the history of traditional ceremonies about 60 years ago. Julie Andrews and Tony Walton appear formally dressed at a wedding ceremony that recalls the 1950s, with a vintage dress, veil, and bouquet under the soft lighting typical of the time. This period marked progress in the entertainment industry, strengthening international stardom. The use of the crinoline marked a major change in women's fashion, lifting the silhouette and reflecting the social status of the time. This clothing innovation, recorded in old photographs of elegant interiors, showed a search for distinction and self-confidence in that society. An elegant woman wears a long dress with decorative details on the upper part and long sleeves, reflecting early 20th century fashion. Her curly hair and elaborate hairstyle show the social style of the time, marked by sepia-toned studio photos with neutral backgrounds. Young people in the 1960s embraced striking fashion trends, such as full skirts, long-sleeve blouses, and big hair. These choices reflected a search for freedom of expression after periods of strong social control, creating an iconic style that influenced future generations. Women wearing plastic head protectors and classic 1930s clothing face a snowstorm in Montreal, a city with old architecture and cold weather. The black and white photo shows innovation in cold weather protective fashion, highlighting technological advances of the time. The presence of a woman wearing a long coat at Liverpool Street Station in London points to a period marked by the beginning of World War I, which in 1914 affected Europe and sped up social and economic changes, including the role of women in society. Inside an old Union Pacific train, passengers of different ages relax under ceiling lamps, while curtains decorate large windows, reflecting the signature design of the 1950s. This period marked the expansion of luxury trains in the United States, symbolizing progress and modernity. In the heart of Soho, London, bar and restaurant workers take part in an annual race celebrating the hospitality tradition in the 1950s. This competition reinforces the importance of waiter service in the city's social and economic life, marking a moment of unity and professional pride. Young men work with strands of pasta dough in an outdoor setting where clothes dry in the wind. Masonry walls and metal balconies reveal traditional Italian architecture. In 1947, this moment reflects post-war economic rebuilding and the value placed on handmade production. In 1904, stores like Illum in Copenhagen showed the growth of luxury retail, with customers looking for perfumes and jewelry. This expansion reflected the rise of urban life and French-influenced consumption in Europe, pushing modern fashion and lifestyle forward in the early 20th century. In the Tier workshop, craftsmen used traditional tools to sharpen knives, a practice essential to the local economy and the preservation of ancestral techniques in France. In 1902, blade making was important, standing out for the economic and cultural value of craft traditions. The presence of a man in a hat beside an old gas pump reveals the growth of the automotive sector in the 1920s, when vehicle use was becoming more popular. In Washington, District of Columbia, industrial expansion and urban modernization marked this period of economic change. Looking at a room with 6 people, old vehicles, and period traffic signs, the progress of driving courses in the 1950s United States stands out, helping standardize road rules and affecting highway safety. The anatomy class from the 1920s shows progress in scientific study, which was important for the development of modern medicine. The students wear clothing typical of the time, and the room reflects the academic setting of the period, with old furniture and hanging lights that reinforce the era shown. A woman waits for care at a clinic in the Soviet Union in 1980, a period marked by the strengthening of the Soviet public health system. That era reflected the importance of universal access to health care and the growth of social policies that shaped local society. The 1914 photograph captures a child in an urban setting with a brick building in the background, reflecting parts of everyday life in the early 20th century. This period marked the beginning of World War I, an event that would change the global political and social landscape and influence daily life. A woman dressed in typical 1950s clothing appears beside a towering redwood tree in a Western American forest landscape during the 1950s. This era marked growing interest in conserving ancient forests, highlighting the importance of these giant trees for environmental and cultural balance. In the 19th century, a young woman learns to ride a bicycle while wearing period clothing in an outdoor setting with trees and grass, portraying technological progress, since the bicycle of the period represented a revolution in mobility, influencing transportation and promoting greater social independence for women. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, United States territorial expansion brought tensions and strict rules in the West, where people connected to crimes were often recorded in identification portraits. These images reveal the harsh reality of an era marked by disputes over territorial control. Public libraries in Cincinnati and Hamilton County in the 19th century show the durability of cast iron in architecture, especially its use in creating book alcoves. This innovation made access to knowledge easier and marked progress in public building design, reflecting the social and cultural growth of the time. A family in New York reveals an emotional surprise after finding out they were expecting twins, or maybe triplets, during a time shaped by hopes of recovery after World War II. The old 1946 photo captures the joy of motherhood amid post-war rebuilding, reflecting the optimism of that era. During the 1970s in California, Hollywood figures like Arnold Schwarzenegger were often seen exploring the city with friends, reflecting a laid-back lifestyle and celebrity culture. This phase marked the beginning of his career and the strengthening of the American dream. A trained elephant following commands in a room decorated with classic furniture, typical of a London club or hall in the 1930s, symbolizes the era's fascination with exotic animals and reinforces the rise of zoology as a field due to the popularity of shows featuring unusual creatures. The image points to a past era, shown by the black and white photography and the clothing and hairstyle styles similar to the 1920s through the 1950s. Decor with hanging plants, beauty bottles, and personal objects strengthens the retro mood, marking a period of cultural change in the history of fashion and women's self-image. The talented actor Robert Walker stood out in American cinema during Hollywood's golden age, earning strong recognition for his memorable performances in the mid-1940s. His ability to convey charisma and psychological complexity secured him a lasting place in major studio productions. In the 1980s, conducting driving tests in Hungary involved the use of analog equipment and vintage technology while professionals evaluated vehicles, reflecting the maturity and challenges of the automotive sector in Central Europe during that period. If you enjoyed this video and want to support the channel, please use the Super Thanks tool below. Your contribution helps us keep bringing you amazing historical content. Thank you so much for your support, and see you in the next video.